What's going on? It's Monday and we got golf on Wednesday. It's almost like, am I even going to be able to catch my breath? But you know what? I like it. I wouldn't want to do this every week, but to mix it up for 1 week, I'm in. Everybody, please hear me on this. Golf starts on Wednesday this week, okay? So the emergency stream is going to be Tuesday night, right? This show, well, it's still going to be Monday because we have to wait for the prices to drop, but just know that everything's going to be in a time crunch. You're going to need to get in your contest faster. You're going to need to start getting your process and your player pool together. You're going to need to do everything a day faster. What's up, new guy? My name's James, better known as the Degenerate75. I am a DFS content creator who is here to help you get a little bit better at DFS. Not going to do it picks and plays. I'm going to do it with a little thing called the process, teaching you how to play the game, trying to make it fun for you, trying to get new people into the game and not always just have it be the same old boring stuffy assholes talking about this shit. That sounds fun. Hang around for the next hour because I've got my dude Tambo here with me. Look at that screen pull up. Who knows a lot about PGA DFS. We're going to break down the prices. They just came out. My dude at DraftKings is like, hey, we're getting the prices out on time today. Thank you for that, C. I appreciate you. And here is what I can tell you. Tambo is he's smiling, he looks happy, but trust me, he is not. He had King of the Desert 94% to advance yesterday because we have Cut Sweats. We both have great relationship with Nelson over there at Cut Sweats, and he runs that simulator. It said 94% chance to advance in the top 15 of the King of the Desert, which is going to be the live final in Phoenix, which we were already going to be at, but it'd be cooler if you were playing for 500,000. And then Patrick Cantlay said, no, I have different plans. How you feeling, bud?
I feel fine. It's part of the process. We talk about it all the time. Nobody cares. Work harder. It's on the shelf for a reason. And definitely did tilt a little bit yesterday. It was actually worse though because I was at peace with the King of the Desert thing. You can't control it. The last day, Scott Stallings on Saturday. Some of these guys just didn't come through for me. That's the way it works. It's a tough event. I haven't been able to get to the round 2 in the FGWC, the Fantasy Golf World Championships, and couldn't get out of round 2 in King of the Desert. But it's the first one ever. I've had good success at King of the Beach over on the football side. So I was trying to parlay that over and have some fun with it with a big giveaway and all that. Did not work out, but the most tilting was definitely on the other stuff. I had still the 254 max was in good shape. Couple of Fantasy Golf World Championship tickets.
Good shape. You were up by like 50 points with when they were on the back 9. I was like, well, He can't lose this. And then everybody's like, hey, why don't we just find every water spot on the entire course?
And that's the takeaway. That's definitely the takeaway. Everybody needs to know that. It's not over till it's over. It's not over when someone bogeys the first hole. If you want to do it that way, do it the other way. Siwoo Kim went like quad bogey double or something. And then Sam Burns went double to end the round. These guys just absolutely tanked everything possible. So you got to remember that when you're out there, like it literally is not over until the very end. And even then crazy shit can happen. If Dunlap misses that putt, shout out to Dunlap getting the W as an amateur. But if he misses that putt, it's a playoff now. And the Bez lineups can move up to a T1 and win it that way. And just even more things can change within the tournaments out there. So while it went bad for me, it went well for others. Lots of members at your site, degen75.com, lots of members at shipitnation.com. I still had a great week. It was a fun week, good time. We're still going to be in Arizona. Life could suck, but it doesn't. It's great. Happy to be back here with you. Excited. Appreciate everybody in the chat, all the support out there on X, everybody out there just trying to do the same thing we're doing, man. Have some fun with it and make some money while we're doing it.
You guys make sure to hit that like, and if you are new, make sure to subscribe. Now that golf's back, the subscribers has been going up. I appreciate you, motherfathers, and tell a friend because YouTube ain't gonna share my shit. We do this show every Monday. We alternate back and forth between channels. Obviously, we're on DGen's channel this week. Next week, we'll be back on Ship It breaking down their Pebble Beach next week, which I believe is a signature event. So that should be a fun one to break down the pricing. Of course, do not miss the emergency stream every Wednesday at 7, the most popular stream in PGA DFS. Some people have called people to look at facts, and it'll actually be Tuesday this week. Plan on being there. Don't be like, I couldn't remember. You fucking be there. And then, of course, I do Showdown Hoedown, because if you don't know that the Showdown Hoedown edge is real, just go look. Yesterday at Showdown, Justin Thomas was like 55%. Sam Burns was like 48%. And Dunlop was like 48%, right? I didn't even have that good of a lineup. I just didn't play those 3 assholes, and I still finished top 10 in a GBP just because, sometimes they don't make 97 birdies in a round. And when you can fade 50% of the field by fading one guy, you should almost always do it. All right, I digress. And don't forget, NASCAR is coming up very, very soon. All right, hit the like. For every 100 likes, you can build a ticket with me, all right? Tambo, let's talk about this course real quick before we get into pricing. I don't know about you, but I am so pumped up for a course where it's not just a wedge and a putt every time for birdie. Like when your guy doesn't make birdie, you're like, well, this sucks. We actually have a real golf course this week, especially the South course, right? Are you as excited as I am to actually see a winning score not be -30?
I definitely am, and I'm excited to hopefully see. I love everything about this one. I do like this. I talked earlier about it. I wish that the PGA would just take a little break, but then put like this one, the waste management, the good ones, still squeeze them in or whatever. But this one is one that I'm always excited for. I love it here. I love Genesis when we get there. All these types of courses. So excited for that. Excited for the the South North split that we get. Looks like there's some heavy rain leading into it. Everyone's starting to talk about that, obviously, with the quick turnaround. So we'll talk about that a little bit too. But definitely one of my favorite events of the early part of the season right here at the Farmers.
I think it was Pat who pointed out what just an awesome 4-week stretch this is, right? We got this, then we're going to go up to Pebble Beach, and then I believe it's down to the Waste Management, and then it's right back up to the Genesis, right? All out there on the West Coast, 4 great tournaments that are all going to have great fields, great courses. This is just a great little month of football, right? Or of golf as football ends, right?
Is Pebble a Pro-Am with an elevated event or
yes, I believe so. I think that's why they're only doing it on 2 courses this year, right? Because typically that's a 3-course rotation, but I believe because it's a signature event this year, they're only doing a 2-course rotation. Don't hold me to that. I live 1 week at a time, you motherfathers, all right? Just be happy I know the next 3 tournaments coming up. That's a small victory.
You said the 4-week stretch. I was going to say that's usually one I could tell to take a hike as well, but in this case, it might be a lot better this year. Because
I only know it because I ripped that off from Pat. I'm pretty sure it was Pat that said it, right? I would have just never thought of that on my own because I live 1 week at a time at PGA DFS.
Makes sense.
All right. Do you have anything in particular you're looking at this course? I'm not going to show my model, but I was going to go over some things that I was looking at this week and part of what makes this course so much different than what we've seen the past 3 weeks.
Oh, I'm here to learn too, you motherfather. You go ahead. You lead the way.
So, the last 2 weeks I kept saying these are second shot courses, meaning that it is basically going to come down to are you sticking your irons and wedges closest and are you going to roll in some putts? This week, this is one of the longest courses on the PGA Tour. Remember, there's a 2-course rotation. Thursday and Friday, they're going to play 1 round at the North Course, 1 round at the South Course. The North Course is definitely easier than the South Course, okay? Then once they make the cut after the round 2, which this week will be Thursday, they will play the final 2 rounds on the South Course. So most of these stats are considering what the South Course is going to be like. And this is a U.S. Open style course. Now, they're going to have it back down. They're not going to have the rough up and have it as playing as hard as the U.S. Open, but it is long enough to be that. So this week, there's going to be a premium on off the tee, something we've been treating like a bastard child these past 3 weeks. But this week, I think it is the single most important thing. Yes, driving distance will help you. Yes, off the tee will help you, but you got to remember it's not one of those things. I do think you want to be out there far, but you also are going to need to be missing in the right spot so that you will still have the ability to attack these greens and keep your greens in regulation, because what you do not want to be doing here is scrambling your balls off for par, because the biggest thing I can tell you is these are true West Coast POA greens, and you're going to see your guy has 3 feet 3 inches for par, and you're already going to be giving it, and then you look back and he makes a bogey, because these greens are brutal. They're that West Coast bumpy ass POA. It's like putting on the moon. Also, all second shots, over 65% of all second shots will come from 150 plus. So what I'm trying to tell you here is you need to put it out there long. You need to be able to hit your long irons. You need to be able to scramble your balls off, and you need to be able to punt on, the Himalayan mountains. Okay. And with that, I'm looking for guys who have all-around games. One of 2 guys are going to win this tournament. It is going to be a guy who is an elite ball striker with long driving distance, right? Whoever you want to use is that example, right? Well, what John Rahm used to be, right? A Max Homa type, a guy like that. Or the other kind of guy that can win at a tournament like this is a guy who can scramble their dick off. A Patrick Reed, a Brandt Snedeker, guys like that, right? Guys that are like true magicians who can get it done in spite their lack of distance. They can get it done with their creativity and saving pars. Those are really the only 2 kind of guys I think can win at a course like this. Like a poor guy like Chez Reavie, he's good with long irons, but like he can't scramble his balls off, and he hits the ball real short. A lot like me, Chez. So those are the big thoughts from the course. That is what I'm looking at. Off the top of my head, kind of the first guys I think of, I imagine, Tambo, are going to be all the most expensive price guys, right?
Yeah, I think that's how it shakes out every year too, right? I mean, or at least like 4 of the last 5 years or something. It's like pricing is correct. Usually, I mean, that it has the guys that are going to end up doing well. So you got to find the right combination of those. And then, of course, it's key to get those guys down at the bottom. But just a couple quick things to add. I mean, you said 2 of them, like I'll just say a different piece on them. But one would be the Showdown Edge capability here. Like you definitely talked about with the course rotation stuff. Definitely want to be mixing that in. And then on that note, I always have an interesting angle. This is the first big PGA DFS GPP I ever hit for. It was actually I didn't win the tournament. It was a big score. It was 40K and first was 100. But it was at this event. And I remember that year, and so I do bring this up every year just as a reminder, is that a lot of people stack like a North Course, South Course rotation. They're like, oh, I just want my guys out to make a bunch of birdies. They'll be feeling good. And then day 2, they'll be able to coast to that made cut. But I actually do think about it the other way. And that's what happened for me that season was you got to remember when you go, let's say you go 4 or 5 under on day one. As soon as you make one mistake on that South course on day two, things can start to combat. Think about how negativity works in your mind. As soon as one bad thing happens, Siwoo off the rocks, trying to be a hero. All of a sudden, Sam Burns goes in the water. I'm starting to think about things as they happen. I try and alleviate my mind to that stuff because no control over it. But in golf, it can go the other way. It can flip. And you got to think, how good does it feel to grind out the South course for a nice even par, whatever it might be, a 1 over. You're feeling pretty good knowing that in day two, it can't get any harder than that, right? Or it could. I know you say that, but at the same time, I do think of it from that perspective. So while it may not be stacking because of weather this week, maybe it will be because there is going to be some rain and stuff coming in. I do think about it for real from that other side of things where, mindset of these players having to get in and make the cut. So the course swing can do that as well.
Let me just ask you this right now. Let's say that we saw one day is going to be windy and one day's not, which, by the way, you'll see the weather here in a second. It's Thursday afternoon right now is projecting to be a little bit windier than Wednesday. So let's just play a game and say we're expecting worse weather on Thursday. This is something I have debated about when there's this 2-course rotation. Would you rather have your guys on the easier course or the harder course on the bad weather day? Because I feel like there's not an actual right answer to this, but I think I have found the hill that I'm willing to die on.
I think there is a right answer. We figured it out before, but now I'm just a little under the weather and trying to remember it here quickly. So it's the opposite of what everyone thinks it would be, right? What is it? And then it will remind me what it's the. Yeah. So
I've actually, this is something I've changed my mind on in the last 2 years. I now believe that on the better weather day, I want my guys on the easier course. I want them to go get it while it's good, right? And then just go survive the harder course in the worst conditions. And I think most people say, oh no, I want my guy on the tougher course in the better conditions. But now that I've been playing PGA DFS so long, I now understand that it's not always about having 2 okay rounds. It's about having those really good rounds is what catapults you up the leaderboard. So if I can get my guy out there to go shoot a -7 on the north course and then a +1 in the tougher conditions south course in the windy conditions, that's what I'm going to take every time. Because
that's
if you go, yeah, that's the right answer in my opinion, and something I have evolved on. We're just saying it. We're taking a hard stand that that's the right answer. Maybe someone has better stats and numbers and knows, but I'm with you on that one. And that's why I said it, but it's exactly the second part that you said. Everyone thinks it's the other way, but you got to get the scores while you can. And you can only get the scores you can only really get the scores on the easy course in the better weather versus the other side. There may not be any scores to be had at all. So that's the key, is get the points where you can, especially when it matters in DFS more than just the real golf. I know you need them to make the cut and all these other factors, but the point being of like the eagles or the streaks or the birdies and all the stuff that add up in the end can still matter regardless of where you're at. So yeah, you said it better. That's what I was looking for though. All right, a quick weather update. You guys need to understand I'm filthy rich. I can't afford the $18.99 a year to give you the best win projections out there. And right now, it's raining freaking cats and dogs right there at the course, right? And this is a course that typically the greens play a little bit firmer. At worst, they play medium, but I think you're going to see some softer greens this week as it's raining all day today. It looks like there's going to be a little bit more rain overnight, and then they turn around and play on Wednesday. So these greens, I think at worst, are going to be somewhat receptive and could make, throwing darts with those 6 and 7 irons a lot more reasonable than it normally is at this course, because normally this course you have 190-yard approaches and you can't stick it because the greens are so firm. That is one of the big defenses. So I would be watching that. I think that this is going to be pretty receptive. The other thing I have is, even though it looks like there's not going to be a ton of wind, it looks like both Wednesday and Thursday, the first 2 days, it's only going to get up to about 60 degrees at the warmest. And I'm going to tell you, 60 degrees is a magic threshold in golf. When it's below 60 degrees, scoring is lower across the board. That's part of one of the reasons that the Scottish Open and the British Open later in the year are always lower scoring, is because they tend to just be colder than a witch's tit. So that's just some updated weather. Of course, I will have everything you need for the final weather tomorrow on the stream, but this is just kind of a first look for right now. You have anything on the weather before we get over to contest, Tambo?
No, I think you can apply a lot of the things we already talked about, so I'll just stick with that. And then somebody asked in the chat about the Showdown Edge. Just to clarify, yes, it is the North course that you're taking on in Showdown.
And I will tell you, if you're like over on my site, I think there's even a little bit more you could go down. I think there's even advantage to starting on 1 or 10 this week, but I'm going to save that for all my members. I'll be attacking round 1 and round 2 Showdown real hard this week. Real hard. Okay, I'm doing a really shitty job checking the chat over here. I do see my girl Jennifer right here. These guys are the best. I've constantly been in the top 100 the past 3 weeks in the 20 max. Thank you for what you do. Jennifer, thank you for being here, you sister. You sister, mother, father, I think is what I wanted to call you. Jared says, hey, struggling with my, feel like I'm struggling with my process. I tend to overthink almost and get too contrarian. Dude, this is a big thing I've had to do, Jared, because, I tell people, why play this guy when you could play this guy at this ownership? And people seem to let that infest every decision they make. To me, this is a good rule to follow. You only need 1 or 2 pivots/sleepers per lineup to really get your lineup different. You don't need 5 or 6 pivots in every lineup. At some point, the better plays are the better plays. The more owned guys are the better plays because they're better players out on better course condition and better form. So the key is to pick your battles on the strategic 1, 2, maybe 3 pivots you want to make in a lineup, and then the rest you can play guys that you like even if they are high owned, right? You have anything to add to that, Tambo? Because I feel like this is a problem that a lot of people do. They over pivot.
Yeah, definitely. And people say it's over leveraged, right? Like you're playing like, oh, I need this guy's under. Again, if you really do like all the 6, then it's not really over leveraged. If you're just playing who you like and you want to do it. But if you look back at the winning lineups, and I talk about this a lot in the courses and stuff that we have over at shipitnation.com, breaking it down of the review and analysis in all sports that I play. Even if you're just doing this as a hobby, if you're putting enough money into it, it's not just a hobby. I mean, you're investing into it to have fun, and that's what it's all about. Good contest selection, bankroll management, all the common points that DJ and myself hit on with building a process is something of your own. But if you are going back and looking at it, you'll see it's not very often on the entire season, on a large sample, that you'll see a lineup with like every dude is 3 to 5% owned. It's very often some of the chalk gets there, some doesn't. A great way to leverage it is usually through roster construction. So don't always look about, like I always say, it's not who you play, it's how you play them. Don't always look at the 1-to-1 pivots and look at what does my lineup look like versus what I think the rest of the field is doing. That's what we talk about a lot more. So even when we are incorporating picks and plays, as we like to say, into some of the stuff, it's not necessarily just to pick those guys and play those guys as much as who are you picking and why, and how are you playing them, and what does that overall look like? And so that's the thing I would say on that.
Ben also says, will people be a bit scared off Willie Z? I still think so, Ben. And I want to remember to talk about this when we do pricing in a minute. If there is a course in this world designed for Willie Z, I believe it's this one. This is perfect for his skill set. But I've also been saying I want to be late to the Willie Z party. Even though he had a top 30 this past week, I'm still not convinced he's the old Willie Z yet. But I think there will be some people that are going to be thinking like me, and I think he'll probably still be lingering around that 10 to 12%. Well, I got to see his owner. I got to see his price. If he's 9,900, no one's going to play him. If he's 8,700, I think a lot of people will play him.
Yeah, he went off the green in tears that year to Luke List. Somehow Luke List win this. When we talk about those 3-footers and them turning into bogeys, yet somehow Luke List gets the job done. It was pretty crazy, but in the playoff, it's because he put it to, I think, 2 feet. And so really, it was really hard to miss that one. But yeah, definitely a great spot for Willie Z just a couple of years ago. Even the year before that, I think he came top 10. So
I actually like bad putters this week because so many people are going to miss 3-footers. I'll be like, that's what Luke List does anyways. That's what he already does. So like, welcome to the party, pal. Okay. How's the guy in the back doing? I think I don't know. He seems a little overwhelmed by the Tuesday stream. I don't even know that he's going to be ready for that. All right, let's see here. Let's get over to contest selection. Man, I just want to lead with this, Tambo. My dude Levi was winning the pitch and putt yesterday with legit 10 holes to go, right? 10 total holes, not 10 holes on the TV. Like his guys only had 10. He was in 1st, 7th, 8th. I think I saw you in 6th at that.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I look back at the end. He's L Rimnick, I believe, is his little handle on DraftKings. Been a supporter of the show for a long time, so I know who I was cheering him on, right? And then I look back when it's all said and done, and I think he got like maybe $1,000 for that lineup that was winning 200,000. Because in contests like this, and this is why I always tell you guys, some people should play in these contests, but probably not you, okay? Because whenever you fall from 1st down to like 16th place, which is very easy when Siwoo gets into the rocks or when Sam Burns snap hooks it into the water, right? It is very easy to fall. Those $199,000 drop-offs hurt a lot. Whereas if you're in a better structured contest, you don't drop off, $199,000, right? There's always going to be a drop, but in well-structured contests, when you have those drop-offs, it hurts a little less, right? And this is why I'm always about these well-structured contests, because Sunday at the very end can be an absolute shit show and can move you way up and way down. And the better structured contest you are in, the less those drops will hurt you. Do you have anything to add to that, Tambo? Because I know you are one of the guys who plays in these tournaments that I will not shame for playing in it. You've got the bankroll to do
drops you just talked about. We just talked at the top of the show. Obviously, they can be very hurtful even with 2 holes remaining or 3 holes remaining. So it happens. Definitely agree with that. That's why, again, if you saw, like I've been playing the 254 max as opposed to 2 in the 555. And mainly it's not because I just get double the lineups. It's because I have the max anybody else has. I already feel good enough about beating that field. And it's not that I don't think I can beat the 555. I just a year and a half ago or whatever it was, I came second and third within a month period in that tournament. I can get there in that one too, but it's like 100K, 40K, 20K. Like you need a top 3, and there's people in there that have the max 30 lineups or 28 or 18 or whatever week it is, depending on how many entrants they're letting into the field. 3% of that is the max. So I just have a good time doing it, have a good shot just this past weekend, even at the 20K there. That's an example in that tournament. For this one, anything can happen. It's a shit show. Like I said, I was in the same top 10 there, and I think I finished 93rd. It's just, you got to know what you're getting into, but there's not many other places that you can go to win 200K like that. And well, it's unlikely if you're building your lineups accordingly. And once you get a better process in place and know how to attack, you should be building your lineups based on the tournaments that you're playing. And, quickly on that, so I'm not rambling on, but just to say it now, I wouldn't probably put necessarily the same lineups into the 254 max. I'll probably duplicate it just because, like, why not just throw it in there
in case you hit the nuts.
Build?
Yeah,
but
in case
it's
you
a
hit the
different
nuts
style of build that I'm trying to get to the top of something like that. With you do need more leverage. You don't need over leverage, but you want more leverage in something like the $20.
I build 2 different player pools, right? I do my one for my 254 maxes, my $200 single entry, my 120s, basically anything over like $50 or more. All those lineups, I'll go build a really condensed player pool of guys that I really like, that I'm not so worried about getting cute with. And then when I go do my 150, my MME player pool, I'll start adding some of those peripheral pieces that I like in there, right? I'll go throw that Kevin Yu in there or whatever slimy asshole I like that week and put some of those guys in there, because you're going to need some of those low ohm pump pieces more often to win these big GPPs than you will to win the 254 max, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So this contest, guys, this is what I'm talking about. Like, Tambo can say that it's the only place I'm going to win $200,000, but a lot of you don't need to be worrying about that. You need to worry about making your lineups, making your bankroll sustainable, right? And when you see second place is only 1/4 of first, that's the kind of shit you should run from, unless you got a big bankroll and you have an impeccable process. Outside of that, I don't think you should be playing in it. But this big $5 just keeps going up, 25,000 every week, and the structure just keeps getting better and better. If you want to play at MME this week, that stands for mass multi-entry. Those are the ones you can put 150 lineups in. Check out Drive the Green. They just keep making it bigger every week. First place, $25,000, which is only 1/8 of the prize pool. That's great right there, right? Second place, 60% of first. See, you know, at the last minute, the guy gets a birdie on the last hole and jumps ahead of you. Well, second place doesn't feel like such a kick in the dick when you get 60% of what you were still going to get, right? You go down here, it's just a well-balanced payout structure. Yes, you got to beat 47,000 people, which ain't easy, but this is a much more sustainable MME than that $20 one is. I love this contest, and it's going to fill a lot quicker because people are starting to become aware of the value of being in good contest selections. You have any other contests that you like that I need to talk about? They really do have some great contests this week. Even with it locking a date early, they didn't nerf how big the contests were, so really proud of DraftKings for that one.
Yeah, I think the $10.18 max that you started, I think I've made money in that every week so far. Even on my bad week, it was like I still made $100 or something. So
it was the only tournament I profited in this week was the $10.18 max.
Yeah, that one's really good. The $5 you talked about, that was the first one I maxed yesterday. Like I just go put 150 in that right away. So it's solid. But there's a lot like the $20 3 max, the $12 single entries. There's still some really good structures that come with those where you can still get a feel for kind of what you and I were talking about pre-show. Like just awesome to see all the guys across both of our sites and members, guys and girls that are winning and having success turning $50 into 500. Very few weeks am I putting in $5,000 and turning it to 50 or $2,000 and turning it to 20. So you have to still compare it. The same thing. 10X is 10X. That's some incredible stuff to see. And those are the tournaments where you can really see that happen. And that's where you can get the bankroll built up to then you can take on something different. Like you win the $12 single entry 1 week, you could probably start to play the $10 or 18 max or something if you have a bit more of a 5K bankroll boost or something where you feel a little bit better about that, playing something and getting some more MME process in. So yeah, little things like that I look at, but overall, so far I'm pretty impressed with what we've seen for these PGA tournaments this season.
Guys, the one contest you should be in is mine. It is a $5 3 max reduce rate flat payout structure. Literally, my host just texted it to me, and I just sent it to the editor. He is about to put it in the chat. Go reserve your spots, because with being a day early, that's going to be a bitch to fill. So get in there. $5 3 max. If you don't get in there, just tell me you're a dickhead. Just tell me you're a dickhead without telling me, okay? All right, let's get over to the pricing. I have not looked, even though I just pulled it up on my screen. I am going to guess that there are, I'll go 5 guys in the 10Ks. And have you looked at Tambo?
Yes.
Okay, so I can't give you a trivia question. And I think the most expensive guy, I think it's probably going to be Xander or Cantlay, but I'm feeling ballsy. I'm going to go with the course history. I'm going to say it's going to be Max Homa. Let's see how stupid I am now. The most expensive guy, Xander Schauffele. 10,600 seems like a good price for Xander.
It's one thing to note here. Like nobody's even over 10-6.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
It's
crazy.
It's gonna be easy to double stack this week, right? If you want, if that's the route you want to go. And I just saw some people over here in the chat asking, do we need to jump down into the cheaps? Like I saw Dollar Bill here asking, do we need to go with some guys in the 6Ks because of all the long shots winning? I don't think that's cool. Oh, Chris also said basically the same question. Are you buying any of that because they've long shots have been doing well these first few weeks? So we should give them any more consideration than normal?
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
And we just talked about earlier. I think again, it's something like the pricing has worked out to what it's been like here. So I think that's on a number of like the average price and above. So 8,300 ish and above is where you've seen the top guys come from, which is no doubt. I mean, that's obviously they're the best guys in the field priced at that, or as far as odds are concerned. But there is 43 guys in the 7K range this week. That's I think the most that we've seen all year in the 7K range. So that just tells you that even if you did want to go 2 guys up top, you might not have to go in the 6s either, but I'm sure some 6s will fall into it either way.
Yeah, for sure. I look, I'm going to play 6K guys, but that's just because there's always a few 6K guys I like, right? Like in my player pool, they're just going to get there, but I'm not going to play them because I got to find that sleeper. I'm going to play them because I think they're a good course fit, or I think they have more upside than their ownership is there. By the way, that is the listener league right there. Go get in it right now, you mother fathers. Wait, over there.
I know we'll get to questions later, but the thing you just brought up was a question, so I'm going to answer it quickly. But Jerry Matt said, do you place any value into salary combinations from prior years into your builds? And I do not. And I think it's insane because you have no idea who's going to be at what price, whatever. Obviously, like I said, even knowing that some of the guys came from 8,300 and up, well, this year it could be 3 9K guys that you need that still fit the same model if you were even going to do that, which I also don't do. It's just something to know and take away. But I'm just saying you would just have no idea of knowing. But if I saw that 10-10, 7-7, 7-6 one last year for the 6 spots, I'm not going out and building all lineups like that. Absolutely not.
Yeah, we have been looking at it just to see like what are the most common builds, but even looking at those, I think the most common one is a 10, a 9, 2 8s, a 7, and a 6. But it only makes up like 20% of the winners. And with each week being so different, the price being so different, I just don't know that you can really draw like great conclusions from that. So
you'll get some of that stuff naturally anyway. Like you go out and build 150 lineups, 20 lineups, whatever it is, you're probably going to have some of that naturally falls into that place. It's not, to me, like an NFL showdown slate where you're deciding on, okay, the field is going to be 20% 5-1s today because they think the Eagles are just going to smash the Panthers or whatever the matchup ends up being. It's not like that where then you can get leverage on the field in that sense as much. Like you can find combinations of players that are going to be more owned together and just kind of know that, okay, if people are going Scotty, that's what leads to 2 cheap 7K guys. And who are those cheap 7K guys? It's these guys. So how can I build that differently? But I'm not looking to build against that.
And I can also tell you from my time of being a neckbeard grad student, I understand the flaws in data research. And like a lot of times people will say, well, look, this style of lineup wins GPPs the most. But then you got to ask yourself, maybe that's just the one that's getting entered the most. So just by the law of large numbers, it's going to win the most, right? If the most common build is 10, 9, 8, 8, 7, 6, and there's more of those lineups than anything else, of course it's going to win at a higher percentage because there's more of those lineups to have a chance to win, right? So you also got to look at that. If you want to really understand data and make sure you're deriving data that actually matters. This is why, I'm not always the biggest fan of people being like, I use this data site. It's like, okay, well, that's cool. Data in golf can be useful, but do you even know that you're using the data correctly? That would be my question for a lot of people.
I was wondering how we're getting so many good questions today. Like I literally, me, I'm just chopping at the bit always for these questions, but there's almost 200 people watching. Definitely appreciate that I know it's maybe the early start or whatever, but that's awesome.
Yeah, hit the like, you mother fathers. It's definitely the biggest crowd we've had. We do appreciate you guys being here. We're going to be doing this all year. Me and Tim will not let you down. And then you're like, well, what about when golf ends? We're just going to do it for football, you mother father. All right, so get your mind right. All right, so we got the big 4 up top. Homa, Morikawa, Cantlay, Xander. Off the top of my head, I'm going to assume that Cantlay, which I know I don't need to tell you about, after that Sunday meltdown, I think he will be the lowest owned of these 4. Are you with me on that one?
I'd have to think so, yeah. And I think, again, obviously got Homa, defending champion. Xander played like crazy. I think it was both days, Saturday and Sunday, but specifically down the stretch. Xander came through as my dad's one and done pick. By the way, Papa Tambo out there gets the low-owned Xander, and he's pumped about it. And he even texts me that he knows about the money going to, not going to Dunlap. He was all pumped about that. I'm like, geez, you've been reading the rules here. But I think Cantlay will be the lowest owned, and I'd actually have no problem going back to him here at 10-5.
Yeah, I think that he's going to be the leverage play up there, right? And I made my model this morning, and model's life. And Cantlay was number one on my model. I have kind of learned that Cantlay is not good at tough courses, but he is good at easy and medium courses. And man, his game, I didn't realize Cantlay was such a fucking killer off the tee. Like, I just don't think of Patrick Cantlay as an elite off the tee player, but like he is. The stats bear it out. And the fact that I'm going to probably get him leveraged, I'm probably going to have to play him. But I will tell you that Max Homa, this course is designed for Max Homa. And I've got to tell you that Xander Schauffele and Colin Morikawa are playing exceptional golf right now in all facets of their game, and they're both West Coast guys, and Xander's from San Diego. The top of this board scares the shit out of me. I might just bitch hedge and play all four of them in my pool and just make my stands down in the 7Ks. Because honestly, all four of these guys scare the shit out of me.
I'm all for that. Again, I'll see how things shake out with some of the stuff I'm going to look at after this is the first look. But to your point, I don't even think it's a bitch hedge because we just said it. First of all, there's 44 or 43 guys in the 7Ks. Which doesn't even include all the guys you can play in the mid-range too, the 8Ks and whatnot. But if you just want to get a couple of these guys and drop down, you can do it without even hitting the 6s. I meant to say it doesn't mean not to mention the guys in the 6K range that you could mix into that pool of 43 7K guys. On top of that, I've talked about this all the time, at harder courses, real courses, like some people will call them this week, not a birdie fest. You can see it all the time. It's really hard to predict the best of the best. And we talked about all the best of the best in the past coming from 8,300 and above. But if you take your stands down low, then you can mix and match with these guys up top, because another thing that comes with the tournament where there's a lot of good guys up top, the ownership gets extremely spread out and you don't end up seeing one guy at 35% and one guy at 28 and that sort of thing. You'll see it really spread out. So you can still be at field or above up top, but huge leverage down low. And if you end up getting it right, you'll have more combinations of the right value plays you wanted to go with the guys that you have no clue on 2v2s like Cantlay and Eric Cole or Keegan Bradley and Xander Schauffele. Like, that's a 2v2 I'm just looking at cheating and going ahead, where how would you know? Like, you can pick your side that you like, but it's tougher to get right.
Let's get into this 9K range, because I'm going to come at you with a fastball right off the bat. I think this is where the GPP is won, is in this 9K range. Somebody in this 9K range is going to be the difference maker. So many people are going to spend their time up top. And to me, the most interesting plays are right here in this 9K range. Literally every one of these guys has me, Sung Jae is playing really good golf, but there's going to be the narrative out there this week that he is just not long enough off the tee, and that's going to punish him. Iceberg Lettuce, old Ludwig Iceberg, this course is designed for his game. The guy mashes it off the tee, is an absolute killer. But the problem is I've never seen him on these POA greens. We've never seen him. He has no course history here. So I think there's going to be some questions about him. Jason Day is a dude who is playing sneaky good golf and used to be a guy that I loved on long, hard courses. Tony Finau is a great fit for this course. And then Minwoo Lee is a guy who just kills it off of the tee and I think is an awesome fit after playing well last week. And then Eric Cole is definitely going to get overlooked this week simply because he does not fit the style of narrative that people want this week. And people are going to forget that Eric Cole is, I'm telling you, he will be a top 10 golfer by the end of the year because he's just going to get so many good finishes on the PGA this year.
Minwoo Lee off the tee goes hand in hand. You just said it like that. I like that little rhyme. But the funny part about this range, I'm not sure how much you look at course history, but Jason Day absolutely demolishes this place. Finau, 9th, 2nd, 6th, 13th, 6th, 4th in 6 of the last 7 years. Im, 4th and 6th the last 2 years. The guys that I hear people talking about, though, and like the most and do fit this course perfectly are Minwoo Lee and your boy Iceberg. So this range is nuts, getting this right. And we just said how much we like the 10Ks up top. I just wonder, what do you think after all that said, now that we're doing 9K and up, and Eric Cole's in there as well, just been playing, what is it now, another 21st? Played horrible yesterday, but he can obviously bounce back from that. But where do you think people end up? Do you think that, now that seeing this, James, do more people go with 2 10K guys, or do more people go 10K, 9K because they feel better about this range too? It's just going to be very spread out. You can tell already.
They're going to go 10K, 9K. And I think even better than that, I like starting with 3 9K guys. Like, it is not very hard to start your lineup Tony Finau, Minwoo Lee, and Iceberg. Like, you can get all 3 of those in. You're going to have, I mean, if you go start with 97, 93, and 91, I mean, you still got 7,300 left for your last 3 spots, right? Like, that is a really nice start to a lineup because I think all 3 of those guys have tremendous win equity, right? So, I mean, like, I don't even mind doing that. This is, honestly, the top of this board from 9,000 up, this is one of the best pricings I've ever seen. Like, there's so many options, and it's not so obvious where I need to go or so obvious where the field's going to go.
Yeah, I agree, and I actually love that. Some people get annoyed when the pricing is like that, and they say, "Oh, like it's so hard to pick it up." We want it to be like this. At least I don't know how it gets as the further down we go. I didn't cheat that far ahead, but I personally so far love it when this range looks like this up top, and it makes it that much harder because then other people are sort of, it's like a major where you get softer pricing. It's kind of in the inverse of that. It's like it's soft enough but strong enough that you kind of have to take your picks and make your stands. And so I do like that from 9K and up so far.
Okay, let's see. I want to make sure I'm not skipping too many questions. If you see any good questions, let me know. Like here, these are the important questions. Drunken fist fight. Who wins, Rory or Harman? That's easy. Harman puts on the ring, goes invisible, fucks Rory up. That's an easy one. You're going to have to bring him harder than that. Let's see. Did actually screw anyone else on Saturday? Yeah, I think there was a lot of guys who made a bogey on the last hole.
Yeah. When the cut's minus 13.
Let's see. Here's a good one. Are you giving any more weight to course history? It seemed like you were just rattling off some really good course history guys. Is this something? Do you think this course has a pretty sticky course history, Tambo?
Very sticky. Yeah, Xander's solid. Max Homa very solid. Play home at home courses. Morikawa, a couple good results, but the guys I mentioned, the 9Ks, all have it. Justin Rose has it. Hideki has it. It's always been the same guys showing up for the most part. So you'll just see if you look at any list or sheet that has course history on it, the greens just go in droves. Like it's always that way. So it's one. Someone else mentioned it though. Obviously, form helps coming in as well, but typically guys that have played well here continue to play well here.
All right, let's get to the 8K range. First of all, let me just tell you, long, hard courses, I'm always in on Keegan, right? Why did I play him at the PGA Championship last year? Because I just love Keegan at long, hard courses. And at 8,900, I think he's very fairly priced, and I think you're probably going to get a discount on his ownership because I think most people see him as a big drop-off. But I think we have our first what-the-fuck pricing right below Keegan. Why the hell is Harris English, rope hat, why is he 8,800? What am I missing here, Bob? I don't get it. I have no idea why he's $8,800.
His last 2 finishes, he showed some signs, right? 14th and 10th. So that would have to be it.
Yeah, but I don't know. Whatever. Like, we think Harris English is better than Tigala and Decky. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing, Bob? I don't know. I think he'll be 5% owned at most. That's just my first fill, right?
Yeah, see, Ross just said it.
But English I will tell you, Harris English. Yeah, well, he can't. By the way, how I used to perceive Harris English back before he started sucking is the guy can grind his dick. Like, the guy can really go out there. If this course plays, if the winning score is going to be -10, that's where I like to play Harris English.
Yeah.
All right, so we got Tigala, Straka, Decky, Mr. The Hogard, the pimp himself, Rose, Moronk, Berger. Zalatoris is only 8,000. I think I'm gonna do it. All right, so and then Bez is up to 8,000. Which I used to think of Bez as a grinder, but I think I need to warm up to the idea that guy's can be a birdie fest guy too, because he can putt and throw some wedges in there. All right, you go 8K range. First thoughts? Anything?
A couple guys you mentioned, like Berger and Zalatoris being back, if you will. Like they both showed signs last week. Berger was fine.
Yep.
Zalatoris was fine. Nothing incredible from either, but a little bit more. They're not 7,900. They're 8 and 8,100. Interestingly enough, though, Moronk almost won the event in Dubai that Rory won overseas. So I think if you look at him, he actually is coming in with some solid form. An 8th, the 10th, and a 2nd coming in. Rose and Matsuyama, really good course history. I saw some stats on Straka earlier. I'll have to dig in further, but he does have a 16th and a 13th here coming off a 12th, 2nd, and 22nd. So he's a guy you could rattle off stats for. And then our boy, Model Maniac, got to give a shout out to Byron on X. He said Keegs and Thiegs week, he said. And those two guys are right there at 87 and 8,900. Thigala, 4th here last year. Keegan, 2nd. Keegan's played here a bunch and had some up and downs, but more ups than downs. So maybe he's the guy that gets, I don't know. You thought discount ownership. I just think he's going to be one of the guys in the 8K that still comes in. We'll see how it all shakes out in the end. But the guys at the bottom probably stand out as a little bit overlooked and a little bit more interesting. And I don't know if people will actually go back to Bez off just the hot Sunday or not. I did want to bring that up with you. Actually, it's my own question or my own interesting takeaway. because we've talked about this a lot the last couple weeks we've been doing the show. The hot rounds coming into the next week, and it'll be a segue in a second to Keith Mitchell as well, I think need to be tapered back just a little bit, because here was my thoughts. Like Keegan, if you saw Keith Mitchell stats, and Bez fits this model too, that's why I'm bringing it up. They just dominated on Sunday. But when did they dominate? I know it's like you see the round 4 coming in. It's a hot round when they were completely out of it and way back of the board and said, screw it, I'm just going to fire at pins. And if it gives me a chance, it does. In the end, it worked out to the tune of the entire prize going to Bez off that Sunday. And Keith Mitchell had a huge day. But I think you got to think of it from the perspective of also where they were on the board and why were they firing at pins. And that's the case for Keith Mitchell, at least for sure.
For all of you that don't understand the firing at pins, Bez had like 4 just incredible saves yesterday to get that bogey-free round, right? Because he was firing at every pin, and he kept missing short-sided, overcooking draws and stuff, and he was in bad shape on 4 holes and managed to scramble his balls off to save par on all of them, usually with like 15-foot putts, right? So there is some, like, him firing at every pin. He had all those birdies because he was just firing at every pin. And I think that like Tambo said, you got to take that with a grain of salt. That's not how he's going to be playing if he enters the final round in 3rd place. He's going to be playing a different style of golf. He's going to be throwing it to the middle of the green and 2-putting, just like Thomas and Dunlap were, right? They were playing different golf.
Yeah, like
I will tell you this 8K range, Sambo.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I think we're on delay now. I think they got a little delayed.
I'm
I'm nervous about this 8K range because, I love everybody here in the 8K range, right? Like Straka at long, hard courses I'm in. No one's going to play Hideki. Moronk is an absolute killer off the tee. And if I truly think that Will Zalatoris is 90% of the way back and I can get him at 8,000, I'm in.
Yep. I don't disagree with you. I think, again, we'll see. It sounds like, though, from our first perspective, is that the 9K and up range will be where all the ownership goes. Keegan probably slides into that. Maybe Thigala at 8,700. But you got to think Straka down to maybe Zalatoris, maybe Berger, maybe that 81 to 8,600 range is what could go just completely overlooked, besides people taking shots on Moronk off the good week or Rose off the history, whatever that might be. Zal get a little love, Bez off of the hot Sunday and getting in his way to 2nd and 1st place money. And then from there, it drops down into the 7. So I definitely think that's the case. Balanced, probably be a little bit more leverage like we just saw in the chat there. Yes.
All right, I have officially spotted our first mega donkey chalk of the week. It is going to be Keith Mitchell at $7,900. The guy is an absolute killer off the tee, and he's going to be in the 7,000s. He's got that best by pricing at $7,900. I think him and Steven Yeager are going to be wildly popular at this event. I think guys like Shane Lowry are going to just completely get squeezed right there, which at $7,900, I'm more than okay playing, Shane Lowry. Man, this upper 7K range looks really good. Mitchell, List, Yeager. Even the loser Patrick Rogers is an interesting fit here. Who's Dumpy Bowe's actually a killer off the tee. Dunlap 7,600. What the fuck? Okay, that's laughable. All right, I'll let you take it away. What are your early thoughts on this upper 7K range?
You can get the next Tiger Woods for 7,600, and you're laughing at it.
Stop.
He got the job done, though. I don't know. Like, I guess that's part of the thought process, is that the guys that we said, like Zal, Berger, Moronk, Rose in the previous range, are just $300 to $400 more than what's probably very popular. Luke List won here before. Mitchell, did you see that Sunday? Lowry, he played okay. Yeager, I know it didn't do anything on Sunday, but still another guy that always makes cuts and can get you a score. People like Rogers, Svensson, Hostler for sure, maybe Dunlap off the win. I just don't see a lot of people going back. But we saw it with Kirk. People went back to the winner. Maybe people missed out on Dunlap last week and they want to play the stud now. So I don't know, man. Like I think that this range will definitely be more popular than the lower 8K range. You just have to find your ways to make those breaks. I guess the point would be then if you were fine with like Sungjae, Iceberg, Finau, Minwoo, those guys, if you just drop down from Cantlay, Kawa, Homa to them, you're able to move off this range and up into that lower 8K range. That would be my first main takeaway.
Yep. My first takeaway is I hope there's some weather. I hope that there's like some type of weather edge this week, because I've already identified 30 guys I want to play right now, and my player pool is going to be brutal trying to cut it down come what is that going to be? Tuesday night, right? All right, let's get down to the mid 7Ks. Wow, you are right. There is a shit ton of guys in the 7Ks this week. You know, I think Batia, Grillo, dude, I try to tell people this Rio Hisasune, that guy's a effing player, okay? He ended up back to, I think he was in the winning lineup of the 200K this week. Guy's an animal, right?
Yeah.
I think Aaron Rye on a course where you need to make a bunch of pars. Aaron Rye, good. Like this is a good range right here. Taylor Moore can bomb the shit out of the ball. This is there's some dudes in this range I like. Anybody jumping off the page to you?
I don't know, but Devin Davis, I mean, just disrespectful. The D in Devin stands for disrespectful. Said, I love the kid, but that's an easy fade. He's Michael Block after the PGA. Nick Dunlap is not Michael Block. I can promise you that. So maybe you mean it in a different way, like he gets off the high or something. But, man, there should be no comparison there whatsoever. The dude is definitely legit. He's 20 years old and just won a tournament. That is not the same as Michael Block, who we've made fun of ever since. But, yeah. I think we just had to note that one.
Devin also is a. You also need to know Devin's a win finder guy, so maybe we shouldn't listen to what he says.
Yeah, we'll see. There's some guys though down in this lower 7K range, and again, if it does happen that the guys above this range are very popular, I actually don't see a lot of difference. Like you get down to some of these guys here, no problem. You talked about Ryu, he looked good. Montgomery just squeaked through the cut, but was still fine. Beyond that, Aaron Rye. We've said it all the time. If you want to play him, it's usually in somewhere with some rain. Well, there's some rain coming through, and then also some of these harder courses are where he can grind it out and he can scramble. You talk about guys that can scramble their ass off. That's usually what Aaron Rye has to do. You will have to worry about those 3-foot putts, though. Mm-hmm. All these other guys down here at the bottom, Michael Kim can scramble,
but he never makes his 3-foot putts anyway. So who gives a shit?
It's the same exactly, like you said for all those guys. People were on Smalley.
He sucks at him anyway.
Not sure if they hop back on. I don't know if there's other guys heavily down here. I'll have to wait and see, but nothing else that I can see off the top of my head that stands out. So maybe back to the well on Stallings. Yeah, not too much else that I see down here that I love, but there's enough guys that pop off the page for sure that you can get different in this range.
Charlie says, will DK nerf weekend showdown contest? Actually, Charlie, I'm optimistic that they're going to be even better this weekend because now they don't have to put them up against football. Outside of potential weather, I think you'll see really solid showdown contests this week for PGA, right? Because with round 3 being Friday and round 4 being Saturday, they're not going to be up against anything else, right? There is no Saturday NFL this week, so I think you're going to get pretty good contests this weekend unless there's weather. I do know that DraftKings will nerf showdown contests if there's weather because they worry that it's going to create a delay and then people won't fill the contest, right? So that would be my only concern would be rain maybe Thursday or Friday.
And that answers 2 of the earlier questions. Someone asked, because again, if you don't know, it's just part of the deal, but someone asked, why are they switching it this week? It's because they don't compete with the NFL Conference Championships, 2 of the biggest games of the year to decide who goes to the Super Bowl. They're not trying to compete with that. The Waste Management, you said, but that's on the Super Bowl weekend. It finishes like the perfect time right around when the Super Bowl starts. So they do that way, and it's fine. And then someone else asked about, will we see better contests after NFL ends? I don't think we'll see where we're getting great contests for classic slates. Where we'll see better contests, I think, is in the showdown streets. They've been a little bit lackluster because DK has to fill it up for Millie makers for these 2-gamer slates and 4-game slates and all that stuff. And then give my guy Devin, we'll get him back in the good books here. He meant in terms of the emotional dump following a life-changing event with all the interviews, media, press duties, etc. Sure. I thought, again, when you compare him to Block, yeah. He said, I'm not new to this stuff, so he's making sure we know now. But, hey, you got to watch. Wording is everything.
First time winners, I'm always reluctant to go back to. It's such an emotional drain after something like that. The media obligations, I don't go back to those guys. But a guy like Chris Kirk winning a few weeks ago, that doesn't worry me. He's a seasoned veteran who knows how to handle that shit, right? I'd rather just play Chris Kirk again because he's a good player who's playing well. But this young kid doing this, I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
Yep.
All right, let's get down to the low 7Ks. There's some dudes down here. This field is good. This is a nice deep field, right? Michael Kim is playing really good golf. Alex Smalley is a dude who is a ball strike and SOB and is a good fit. Davis Thompson rocks the shit out of the ball off the tee. Kevin, you had me at hello. Very, very nice finish this last week. I remember saying on our first look show last week, Kevin Yu seems too cheap. I said those words. I even went back to verify it, and sure as shit, he was too cheap. Would he get second or third place? Anybody in here doing it for you in this low 7K range?
I just wanted to see one thing on you, but I don't think I have it. He played all right in round 2 as well, and then really dialed it in on round 4. So I guess you could say he didn't just fully carry it over, kind of to the Keith Mitchell point earlier that I was bringing up. I went back to look at that. He was extremely dialed on approach, but he was also firing at pins as well. So I'm not sure if I'll be chasing that or not. I think I like him better at a birdie fest. So we'll wait and see. But I don't have anybody else beyond the guys I mentioned earlier. Like S.H. Kim is a guy I would like here. I'd be okay with him, I think. Matt Wallace, Bjork, irons. If you just want to play a guy with good irons, you could do that. Smalley, Michael Kim. I think some of the other guys you mentioned already. So Davis Thompson might be fine again, coming off another decent result after runner-up there last year, but different style course. But he was solid. Let me see what he was here just recently. I think he got something else, but I don't have him on my screen anymore. But yeah, I'm fine with some of those guys. We can move on to the 6K range.
Let me just run by, okay, because everybody's going to be playing that you got to bomb it off the tee narrative. Mr. Bjork, Mr. Ben Coles. Ben Coles 5, right? Those two guys in particular are notoriously short off the tee. They do not have great driving distance. They do not pick up a lot of strokes off the tee, okay? So they're probably both going to be under 3% owned this week. But as I told you at the start, if you want to play the leverage game this week, look for guys who can scramble their balls off, who can get it done in other ways. You don't just have to be a ball striking god to find success this week. Okay, you can find success by being a guy who will scramble this course, save those pars when other people aren't. The Patrick Reed, the Brandt Snedeker type guys can win at this course and can get good results. It's not just going to be all bombers who are going to make up 10 of the top 10 guys on the leaderboard. So if you can find those guys that you're okay playing a different style, maybe not a perfect course fit, but can still get it done, that's how you can really get some leverage on ownership this week.
Yeah, the chat asked about Coles. I'm definitely
okay.
Fine with
Moving on. Well, he's just going to have to get it done in a different way, right? Same thing with Mark Hubbard. All right, I can already tell you Sam Stevens is looking real good in my model. He is a really good course fit here. I think him, Vince Norman is another guy. I think both of these guys right here. And Vince Norman, $6,900. Nice. So, right there, I think both those guys are going to probably be in that 5 to 8% ownership, which I'm always a little hesitant about once you get down this low. Do you have any thoughts on Stevens or Norman or these guys around here?
I didn't have anything pop off the page on them besides, like you said, like in some of the models and stuff. Stevens, who's the other guy? Said Double R Norman, the Viking. Yeah, they're both all right.
The Viking.
Yeah, I'd be fine with either, but not if they get popular. Just again, there's gonna be too many other angles to take it from. And then, like I said, in just the 7Ks alone, with 43 guys, I just don't know if I would need them for sure.
Here's a surprising one to me. Bobby Mack is only 6,800. Last week I said I don't like Bobby Mack at Birdie Fest, but I do think that he is a better player than every other guy in the 6Ks. And here we are again. I think Bobby Mack is a better player than every other guy in the 6Ks. And this week it's not a Birdie Fest, right? And Bobby Mack is one of those guys I like to target when I think that the winning score is going to be -12, right? Is Bobby Mack a guy you just play kind of on long-term talent, or are you not buying that?
I don't know, man. Like, he hasn't really shown me anything lately is the only thing. Like, yeah, missed cut, a 52nd. Like, I usually at least want something, and then I don't see that I'm playing here or anything like that from the past. So I was looking up one guy that we, I think we earmarked him from a couple weeks ago, but was Semi Kawa, right? We were looking at him, and then people played him last week, and it, definitely a guy. I think he missed the cut on the number or something. He didn't end up making it through or whatever, but he was a guy we were talking about some of these upcoming. Yeah, the week before, when he came 30th, and he did play here last year. So he was a guy I was just looking at 6,800. Now is the time, like if you wanted to go on someone again, just on, guys that people play usually that now maybe this is a better spot, like maybe Bramlett, just fairways and greens. Again, nobody can putt. So Neesmith, go back to my guy there. I've got interest in him. Just trying to see if anybody else.
Bramlett bombs the shit out of it, everybody. If you're wanting guys who bomb the shit out of it, Bramlett and Vegas are just two guys that if you were buying this is a off the tee course, Bramlett and Jonathan Vegas should be way up at the top of your list of dudes who get that done down here in the 6Ks.
Yeah, I was trying to see other guys that could
seeing if there's anybody else.
What about going back? What about
Gotterup? What about Boomer Sooner Gotterup?
Yeah, I like him. I actually
he tearing out my heart.
For me. Yeah, he popped a little bit last week for me.
Let's see what. Let's see what's Taryn's price. I don't see Taryn. Oh, there he is. 6,400. Oh, tearing out my heart when I'm with you. Not great, Bob. Not great. Hadn't been playing that well. Let's see. Shez. I just see Shez is a dude that's like the worst kind of fit to me. Not only does he hit it short, he also can't scramble his balls off. So he'll get third place this week. Let's see. Anybody else down here? Hayden Buckley. Hayden Buckley at 6,200. You know, last week I said Kevin Yu was too cheap at 6,200. I think Hayden Buckley is too cheap at 6,200. I think he's like a $6,800 golfer. And the fact that he's 6,200 and the man absolutely rips it off the tee. If you were buying that this is an off the tee course, I don't know how you couldn't at least be a little interested in Hayden Buckley. I get that he's not playing well, but just from a course fit perspective, not bad, Bob. Not bad.
Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. I do think again, part of the show is this, but I think we're stretching it now. Like the 6K range is not that good.
Yeah.
Like it just sucks. And there's 43 guys in the 7K range. And so again, if you like certain guys down here, like we said, we're going to make our stands down low. It's not saying don't play anyone down here, but when you do find someone you like and you got a reason, play them. Did you see last week Jake Knapp I didn't expect him to get nearly that high, 28% or something.
What? 28%? That what are you talking to the King of the Desert stuff or what?
King of the Desert, he was 24. Sorry, I think he was like 17 or 18 in other places.
What the fuck?
He was still up there for sure.
Wow, these people are doing the Lord's work. Okay, I'm glad I was sleeping on Jake Knapp last week because that's fucking stupid. 24%. These people. I mean, whatever. I don't even get me started. The echo chamber that is the PGA DFS community where somebody says something and then everybody will get behind it because they want to be cool and be the first one of the parties and then go flex about it on Twitter. I tried to kill y'all. Well, it's funny you don't say that when he misses the cut by 12 shots, dickheads.
I didn't mind the play if you want to go
let's
there.
See. Let's get to
just say what ends up happening is like the ownership is what surprised me.
24%, you don't mind Jake Knapp at 24%?
Well, no, I don't think anyone thought. I thought he was going to be
we can't agree that.
What did your ownership? I mean, my ownership.
3%. I could get on board with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had him at like 4%, but I'm also just doing it for the big $20. What was he in the big $20? Do you know that off the top of your head?
No.
All right. Let's see. If you guys got any questions, get them in there right now. We'll answer them and then we'll get out of here. So overall, Tambo, while some people throw some questions in there, here's my big takeaway from the pricing. Very, very fair. And I think borderline soft pricing with nobody being above 10.6. Only 4 guys above 10,000. Only 6 or 7 guys at the 9K range. I think you're going to be able to get 5 guys in a lineup that are really, really good at golf and you're going to feel good about, right? It is not going to be hard to make a lineup where you feel good about it this week.
Yeah, I just think that's where you got to make some cuts. Like I said, if you don't have to do it just because they're in the 6s, but I'm saying if you want to just start 7K and up, you can probably still get some pretty good teams and not have to worry about those 80 plus guys down low. If you got your stands that you're taking in the 7Ks, you can cut that 43 down quite a bit as well. And then you're just really, the tough part is figuring it out from, 80, 900 to the top. Keegan Bradley, even if you want to put Thigala in there, so 8,700 and up, good luck knowing. I mean, that's just anybody. I think anybody, and we probably do get, by the way, a real winner this week. I know, like we're, not like these other guys weren't real, but just to say it, like I have to go back. What was it? It was Homa, it was List, it was Justin Rose, it was Rom. I think before, like you're getting. Usually the cream of the crop is rising to the top when it comes to this event. So we'll have to wait and see how it goes. But yeah, Knapp was only like 5% in the big 20. That is right. So ownership was closer on that. It was all the higher stake stuff where he was boosted way up. I think he was 18%, 24 for sure in King of the Desert. Like people were on him pretty heavy.
Man, I didn't realize Nikolai Højgaard is coming off a first and a second. Oh, those were back in November though. But man, he was playing some good golf in the swing season, I guess, over on the DP World Tour.
Yeah, him and Moronk, 2 guys you could look at based off that. But
all right, Nick says, Doug Gim, anyone? I would say this is what I know about Doug Gim. Doug Gim is a guy that I used to always play at long, hard courses. I will never forget when I was at the Fantasy Golf World Championship live final back in 2021. Kid Cudi. He had his lineup, and I was like, man, that's a really good lineup because he was sitting in like second place heading into after the first day, and I was like, Doug Gim, huh? I wasn't even considering him, and the guy looked straight into my soul, and he said, you always play Doug Gim at long, hard courses, and I swear to God, that has stuck with me ever since then. So Doug Gim at a long, hard course? Well, Kid Cudi says do it, Nick. That's what I'll say. You got anything on Gim?
A lot of miscuts, but yeah, maybe he can find it on this course. He's been hit or miss at this course. The good news is when he makes the cut here, 3 of the last 5 years, he actually has like a top 35 or better. So you could say it from that perspective, but who else? Something else.
Jacob Watson says, Homa going to be donkey chalk. I'll say this. I think he probably is going to be the highest owned of those top 4 simply just because you're getting that slight price discount. Andy won this tournament last year. But I don't think he's going to be true donkey chalk in the sense that I think Xander and Kawa and M and Iceberg are all going to get ownership. So yes, I think he'll be a little bit above him, but we're talking like maybe he'll be 22% when they're all 18%. And to me, to truly be donkey chalk is you have to be noticeably higher than all the people around around you in the pricing. And as on a Monday afternoon, early afternoon, I don't think that's what it's going to be. What do you think, Tambo?
Yeah, no, I think I was going to ask if you ever know that stuff going in, just knowing what you think and knowing what you know now. Like, it looks like the ownership is going to be more spread out. So probably would he be chalk or would he be okay chalk? What is it going to be? Green or yellow?
Yeah. He'll probably be Anytime you're over 20, you're never okay, chalk. All right? You're gonna be don't love it, but I'm also, if I want to play Max Homa, I'm not getting off of him because he's 22%, right? Like, I'm just gonna go play him a little bit more than the field. That's what I'm gonna do because his win equity is incredible. I think between those top 4 guys alone, you have almost probably 25% win equity right there, right? I think there's a 1 in 4 chance one of these top 4 guys is going to win. So to just throw away that much win equity out of your player pool, you're playing with fire.
They're talking about Kid Cudi, the hip hop artist. Said he plays DFS golf and knows about the Gim Reaper. Wow, this is revolutionary.
Yeah. He's like a 30-year-old white dude from Virginia. That's Kid Cudi. I didn't even know Kid Cudi was a rap artist. That just shows you what an old I am, right? All right, Samuel for Tambo. Any love for Merritt? I don't think he fixed the formula this week.
Is Troy Merritt playing? Yes. Is Troy Merritt cheap? Yes. Play Troy Merritt. Is it a birdie fest? No. X. See you later. Bye-bye.
Yeah. I will tell you, Troy Merritt seems to be trending back, which is good because I have a Troy Merritt problem, okay? Illini fans, what are some other courses similar to Torrey? I'm going to be the first one to tell you, dude, I'm not a dude that has all the courses memorized, but longer, harder courses, right? So a lot of the ones that they play at the PGA Championship, the U.S. Open, hell, even where they used to play the Northern Trust there at the what the hell was that course? The one that I was just fucking at for the Fantasy Golf World Championship, the one in New Jersey. I can't even remember. Oh, Liberty? Is it Liberty? Is that the name of the course? Courses like that, right? A lot of really long iron shots, big off the tee courses are going to be the ones that fit that, right? Not tight technical water courses. That's going to be the ones that fit it. Do you know any off the top of your head? I'm not a course guy like that, Hambo.
No, I don't. Again, that's just usually the people. Oh, these guys always play good at this course. Like, sometimes that's the only course they play. Like, they have a certain schedule, and that's what they show up. But I like Ross's answer. Places where Max Homa is good at. Yes, that would be comparable because play Max Homa at Max Homa courses, and this is most certainly one. So that would make perfect sense.
I think Genesis is a fair comparison, right? The kind of guys that I want to play at Genesis are the same kind of guys that I'm going to be playing this week, right? So I guess, I don't even know that the courses are that similar because, once again, we all have our kinks. I'm not a course architecture guy, but no shaming on this show, okay? But what I can tell you is the kind of guys that I identify at the Genesis are the same kind of guys I'd be identifying this week for Torrey.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, let's see. I feel like we're getting through most of these questions. We got the Gim Reaper ones. Delbert wants to know, is Augusta a fair comparison? Probably so, but I think you're going to have a lot flatter lies, and I think that Augusta is more punitive if you miss off the tee with the trees, the creek, shit like that. Here you can really miss off the tee and not be punished, so that would be what I would say about that, Delbs. Tambo, I think that's it. What you got any big closing thoughts you want to say about the tournament? And then if not, what you want to oh shit, we got to get to the drawing. You want to sell anybody on your shit?
You can, shipitnation.com. You can use promo code DGen75, get 10% off to sign up. But it is just a heads up, it's the last 48 hours to get in for the introductory pricing plus 10% off. So if you are just looking for golf only, PGA only packages, the momentum has been very sound. You can go check it out on X at ShipItNation. We did the thread up this morning. Tons of members, big weeks, huge weeks on the course fit rankings, everything that we got going on over at the site. So check it out, shipitnation.com. Use promo code DGen75 if you want to get 10% off additionally.
And your guys' freaking golf package is so ridiculously well priced, right? Like this is what the DFS industry should be. You should be giving good quality content and tools and helping people with the process and doing it without price gouging. The package you guys have for this entire golf season is such an incredible deal. You could afford paying for my site and their site and get them both at way cheaper than what other places will charge it, and you'll be getting way better shit. Trust me on that. If you want to know about mine, go check out dgen75.com. I'm going to warn you guys, time is running out. You want to sign up for that golf package, that all access, and the big guy is getting shut down in 2 weeks. It will never be back again. I think I had 7 people sign up. I'm not playing. It is going away. If you want to get in it, you better get in it now. I have the Rosetta Stone. I think it's the best tool in PGA DFS. It takes all of the relevant stats you need and it puts it out there for you. I do it for week long, round 1, round 2, round 3, and round 4 Showdown. big shout out to all my winners. I can't wait to see the new collage that will be coming out tomorrow in the newsletter. Absolutely insane. So happy for all my dudes. And sign up for my newsletter, and we'll get you a free week on the site. You just simply let the editor know. And of course, editor, I need you to do a drawing. How many? Editor hasn't been updating me. Editor, to build a ticket with me. Oh, wow. Ross K just said Dunlap with Drew. There you go. Yeah, editor, from the chat, draw a name to build a lineup with me. While the editor is doing that, what is the big guy real quick? The big guy is just my most exclusive package. I meet with them. We hop on a chat, and I walk them through my process, how I'm building my player pool, how I'm building my lineups, why I'm doing it that way, answer all their questions one-on-one. It's basically the most access you can get to me, and that's why I have to limit how many people could do it. I just can't have 200 people doing that. It's not practical, so that's why I keep it super exclusive. But if you really want to get down in the weeds with me about the process, that is what the big guy does, okay? It looks like our winner is Samuel Capana. Let's go. Capana. I'm going to go have some pasta. And by the way, Sam, reach out to me. We'll build that lineup this week. Don't forget, me and the Ship It Nation crew, which I believe Tambo was a part of, are going to be at the Waste Management. We have our entire itinerary up. If you're going to be down in Phoenix and you don't want to come party with me and Tambo, just tell me you don't like having a good time, you motherfather. We are going to be out there at the course on Friday and Saturday. We're going to be at Pop Stroke, renting out the place. Food and drinks on us. Me and the Ship It Nation crew, not pours. We're going to be at the Talking Stick Casino Saturday night. We're going to be having a Super Bowl watch party Sunday. Come out there, bring a buddy, bring your wife. I don't give a shit. Just come hang out if you want, or don't, and we'll then my lineups will beat you. But if you hang out with me, maybe yours will beat mine. So that's it, guys. Tambo, thank you for being here. We will be back on your channel next week, the Ship It Nation channel. Which, if you're not subscribed over there, you're a donkey dick. So go subscribe over there. Be looking out for the show next Monday, roughly around the same time, and we will be doing it again live. Tambo, you have any thoughts before I sign us the F off?
Oh, I'm so glad you kicked it back. The best tweet yet came out. Dunlap to live, confirmed. That's why he's WDing, right? Of course. But he did post a statement. He said, after a life-changing event, 24 hours, I want to go be with my family in Alabama, friends, etc. So thanks to the Amex and to this tournament, the Farmers, for his sponsors exemptions, everything they gave him. But yeah, he's out. So we'll move on from there. You guys can disregard all those thoughts we gave you.
Tambo, I legit have a stupid person question because I don't know the answer to it. If he says he's pro, can he retroactively go back and get that money from this tournament?
No. But
fuck.
I think we're on delay. He can't get that money, but who cares? He's going to get that money from a million different places. But he still has all the other stuff that he gets from it as long as he accepts it by, I think, 30 days after the end of the season, which is plenty of time. And the big thing was from the USM or the AM win that he had was that he could play in the Masters, but now he can play in a bunch of all these majors and stuff anyway. So I'm sure he's going to figure it out over this next week, and then we'll hear back. I would expect, knowing that now, that he probably goes pro pretty quickly.
Guys, thank you all for being here, subscribing, hitting the like, telling friends. We're going to be doing this all season. Just start playing every Monday at lunch with Tambo and DJen. A good time. Appreciate all of you being here. We will see you again tomorrow night for the emergency stream. If you're not there, well, then you're an idiot. I can already tell you you're going to lose. We'll see you tomorrow.